Hi, with me, Tian Wei, coming to you Monday to Friday on CGTN. The 140-member DPRK art troupe has arrived in South Korea on Tuesday afternoon ahead of the upcoming PyeongChang Winter Olympic Games. The members will perform on Sunday at the National Theater of Korea in Seoul, which is part of celebrations for the game. Kim Yong Nam, the DPRK's top lawmaker, will lead the delegation. Kim will be the highest level official from the DPRK to visit South Korea in 4 years. Although there were tensions between Pyongyang and also Seoul last year, to say the least, the Winter Games are expected to be an icebreaker for the two sides.
We will warmly cheer the athletes who will try and overcome challenges and achieve their goals. We will enjoy, with the entire world, the moments when the efforts of the athletes are greeted with loud cheers from the spectators.
For more on the upcoming Winter Olympic Games, we are joined in Seoul by Enna Park, who is the Deputy Chief of Foreign Ministry's Task Force for the PyeongChang Olympics. Ambassador Park, what a pleasure to have you. Thank you for taking your time out of your very busy schedule.
Thank you for inviting me.
Good to see you from the other side of the line. Let me ask you by saying, how much do we think this Winter Olympics will be a united one rather than a divided one, from your perspective?
Yes, both sides agreed to march together at the opening ceremony under one Korea flag, a Korean peninsula shape, blue in blue against a white background. And two athletes, they will lead march by the unification flag, and it will be very historical and exciting moment for the Korean people to watch the divided country becomes one country through sports. They are going to send a art performance team to South Korea. They are not the dancing and the singing team, it's an orchestra. And they will perform many pieces, including South Korean songs. It's very exciting, and the people really, they love to watch it.
Do we know at this point what kinds of South Korean songs are likely to be performed?
We haven't heard any details, but North Korea informed us that they will perform South Korean songs, and we are excited to hear that.
That's good news. On the other hand, you also have the cheering team coming from North Korea, from the People's Republic of Korea, already in PyeongChang. How will that work, and how will the North and the South, the cheerleaders, be able to interact with one another?
Well, cheering squad from North Korea will arrive in South Korea tomorrow, in fact. And there is no official arrangement to establish a joint cheering squad, but there will be interactions in many occasions, like women's hockey single team, inter-Korean United team matches, and also some games where North Korea and South Korean athletes compete together.
Of course, the women's hockey team is one of great attention. The women coming from both sides are in the same team. How does that work? How have they been training? Do you know?
Well, both NOCs, they formed a united team, adding 12 North Korean athletes to the existing South Korean 23 players team. And the final entry will be 22 athletes. Among them, 3 will be North Korean athletes. Once they formed their unified form, they had an evaluation match with Sweden, which is one of the strongest women's hockey teams. And the result was they lost. However, they showed very good chemistry among players and also very good team play. So we are quite satisfied with the training.
Right. Having said all of this, Madam Ambassador, people wonder whether this is going to be just a show, or this is going to be a good start of something to happen. What's your take?
Well, it's more than a good start. It has very special significance. It's a true manifestation of peace and harmony to the world. It should serve as a turning point in the pursuit of our long aspiration for peace and prosperity, stability in the Korean Peninsula. North Korean participants, North Korea's participation in the Olympics may not in itself be enough to ensure that our aspiration becomes reality. However, it is very important. The initial first step should lead to a breakthrough, to ease tensions in the region, to create favorable conditions, atmosphere to resolve North Korean nuclear issue, and ultimately to establish lasting peace on the Korean Peninsula.
Well, Madam
so that's why we have to work for the post-PyeongChang.
Well, we have to work for the post-PyeongChang, but Madam Ambassador, you put a lot of content and meanings into this interaction, but I'm not sure whether you could really read the minds of the North. Can you?
It's a good news that North Korea will send a high-level delegation to South Korea led by Kim Yong Nam, who is nominal head of state of DPRK, and Kim Yong Nam, he is the highest North Korean official to visit South Korea so far. So we interpret this. North Korea shows very sincere efforts to improve relations with South Korea and to make PyeongChang a success.
Do we know, Madam Ambassador, at this point, what kind of level of discussion is it likely to take place? Will the South Korean president meeting with the head of the North Korean delegation, is that also a possibility already being confirmed or discussed at least?
Well, it's not confirmed yet, but our position is we have to see as any possibility, any opportunity to ease tension, to improve relations with North Korea. So we are now discussing the level and the possible agenda for the potential talks.
At what level is this discussion taking place right now?
Well, we haven't decided yet, but most probably there will be the highest level talks between South and North.
Okay, and that will be taking place during the PyeongChang Winter Olympic Games, or there will be other places that the two sides are likely to go and therefore have a discussion? Madam Ambassador.
We do not have details at this moment, but most likely the meeting will take place in PyeongChang.
Got it. Madam Ambassador, there are a lot of discussions surrounding the PyeongChang Olympic Games. Another thing is whether South Korea is really ready, because we've seen some of the final works for the Olympic Games is still trying to be installed at the last minute. Is PyeongChang really ready?
Well, it's perfectly ready, and there are so many teams to evaluate the preparedness. Then it's confirmed that we are 100% ready.
At this point, Madam Ambassador, do we know how many heads of states, the latest number that you have got, is going to come to the PyeongChang Winter Olympic Games? Will that include also some of the members who used to be the six-party talks players? Will they come over here as well?
Well, there are several important occasions like opening ceremony, closing ceremony, then opening for the Paralympics and the closing. And as far as the opening ceremony of the Olympics, we have head of states, head of government from 17 countries, which include Japan, Germany, Canada, and Switzerland, Netherlands, among others. And Mr. Abe, Prime Minister of Japan, Mr. Pence, Vice President of the United States, and the United Nations Secretary General Guterres among them. And we also welcome the high representative, special representative of President Xi Jinping, Mr. Han Zhang.
Do we know at this point, Madam Ambassador, whether the delegation coming from DPRK will meet some of these heads of states, including, let's just say, those coming from the United States, Japan, as well as the highest representative coming from China, representing Chinese President Xi Jinping?
At this moment, we do not have any confirmed details, but it is our sincere hope that the PyeongChang Olympic will serve an opportunity to engage with North Korea.
From the South Koreans' perspective, whether it is still important once you have the North and the South united together in one team, important when it comes to the number of medals?
I am not quite sure. I mean, it will be important in terms of medals, working together in public eyes and competing together in international events. I mean, itself, I mean, it's very significant.
When was the time, Madam Ambassador? I know you have been working day and night for a long time in order to make this happen. When was the time that the light is really shining onto the ground, that the possibility of the North and the South coming together has become so big that you could help us to understand now, when did it start?
You know, last year, we kept sending message to North Korea that they should send a delegation to PyeongChang Olympics because it is a global festival and it's a big opportunity to contribute to the peace on the peninsula and to the world. And last year, we kept sending this message to North Korea, but they haven't responded positively. Fortunately, this year at the New Year's address, Mr. Kim Yong Nam, leader of DPRK, he mentioned that they will send a delegation to the Olympics. And they will also send a high-level delegation and along with the cheering squad and the performance troupe. That was quite good news and encouraging.
At the moment, it is still under sanction, the DPRK, by the United Nations. So how does that work for you and your colleagues when preparing for the arrival, the life and the training, as well as many other details related to the DPRK delegation? I mean, on the one hand, you really have to show your enthusiasm and your friendship and your warmth. But on the other hand, there is a balance according to legality. So how has that been done? What are the things that you always have in your mind when you're doing preparations for this?
Well, I must make it clear that the sanction regime against North Korea is the international response to react to their provocations. So the sanction is international regime, not by a certain member of international society. China and Korea and others all, I mean, we fully respect the sanction regime and we are participating. And what we are doing with North Korean participants, North Korean athletes, we are doing arrangement under the scope of the sanctions, under the regime of the sanction regime. So there is no whatsoever violation of the regime. We have full consultation with international community, including United States.
What is that kind of consultation that you have just mentioned? Under what kinds of scales of consultation it has to take place?
Well, for example, we brought those Korean athletes from North Korea to South Korea by airplane. Then we need a special arrangement to allow the airline to fly back from North Korean territory to South Korea. So this is something we need to arrange for the participation of North Korea in the spirit of the Olympics. So we have full consultation with all concerned parties.
Madam Ambassador, we are really approaching the PyeongChang Olympic Games, and probably the world will be extremely excited to see that moment when the two Koreas march under one flag in one team. Madam Ambassador, I know you work very hard for years for this. I just wonder, have you ever thought about that moment yourself?
Well, a few years ago at the Sydney Olympics, we watched two divided Koreas. They marched together under one Korea flag. Then that moment was unforgettable and very exciting, and we wished very seriously to make it happen again in PyeongChang. So we are quite excited with the positive overture, positive decision from North Korea to participate.
Are you going to cry, Madam Ambassador, when that happens?
Well, emotionally, I mean, I will be overwhelmed, I think.
Okay.
Tomorrow, I'm going to PyeongChang, and I will attend the opening ceremony.
Oh,
I may cry.
Enna Park, Deputy Chief of Foreign Ministry's Task Force for the PyeongChang Olympic Games with South Korea. What a pleasure to have you, Madam Ambassador. All the best.
All the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And that is all the time we have for today. If you'd like to see more, try to find us World Insight CGTN into your search engine, or check out our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Tian Wei. From me, Tian Wei, and everyone on the World Insight team, thanks for watching, and tune in again next time for insights across China and around the world. Good night.